All right. Welcome, guys, to the NBA live stream. We just got 4 games to talk about. How do I feel about the slate? It is a slate. There are 4 games. That's kind of my feelings. Yeah, don't really like this one. Definitely taking it light. We got some value plays. We got games. We're still waiting on some news. There's a couple games that have blowout risk. Obviously, Sacramento, Phoenix, possibly Milwaukee, Atlanta, if there's no Trae Young. And then we have a guy like Whiteside that is an absolute must if he plays like 15 to 20 minutes. But I still think there's like a chance that he gets a DNP. So it's just one of those slates. So it's not. I don't really have a good feeling on it. Let's go over the news so far. Unfortunately, again, that was sad. LaMarcus Aldridge retired due to health concerns there. So that does suck. Giannis is in. We do have that news. Kelly Oubre is out. Let's see. We have basically everyone from the Raptors resting besides Van Fleet. He's the one player that is playing. A lot of Pistons guys resting too tomorrow. Gallinari is out. Again, we are still waiting on Trae Young news. Giannis is out. Giannis is in. DiVincenzo's out. Sexton is in, and Robert Williams is out. And I think that's it for now. We need that Trae Young news. That will change the slate. So a little bit hard to make lineups at the moment without that Trae Young news, right? Because if he's out, obviously we have some value. We have some guys in the mid-range with the Hawks. If he's in, that kind of takes the Atlanta value out of play. So again, a little bit tricky to build lineups at the moment. Looking at the Vegas totals here, do we only have 2 of the 4 out? We have, I guess they're still waiting on Trae Young news, so that's why it's not out. But yeah, the Kings and the Suns game is a lot higher total, a 234.5 over under. But again, Suns 12.5 point favorite, so that game does look appealing. More so, I would say on the Phoenix side. But hey, right, there's a good chance the game does not stay competitive. So it's just right, yeah, for sure. Hope he's all good. Yeah, it's a irregular heartbeat, but yeah. That's sad because he actually was playing pretty well for the Nets. Okay, so I'll ask before I get into the breakdown really quick, if you guys could hit that like button. We are at over 200 viewers already and 30 likes. Let's try to reach 100 likes before the end of the show. That'd be greatly appreciated. And let's start off with Milwaukee and Atlanta. So the big news obviously now is Giannis Antetokounmpo is in. So I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is probably the top spot up of the slate. Great matchup. I've heard no reports of any limitations for him. Now, if he is going to be limited, then I'm not as high. But again, right now, I have not seen anything on limitations for Giannis. Assuming he's full go and he gets full minutes, I think he's probably one of the best plays of the slate. Now, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, priced up from when Giannis has been out. Not really on them now. Like, they're not completely out of play because it's a 4-game slate, but not really going out of my way to play them. Bobby Portis is too expensive with Giannis in. Yes, DiVincenzo's out. Does that really do a ton for me? Like, maybe makes Pat Connaughton a little bit more viable, but, like, he's not, like, a smash value. I don't know if I can really, like, stomach anyone else, like Teague or Francis Antetokounmpo, or even, like, a Bryn Forbes. I don't know if I want to do it. So, Giannis, I think, is the clear play here, and maybe a guy like Connaughton for value is probably where I'm looking at the moment. Yeah, minutes limit 38 for sure. You know it's going to happen. All right, so on the Atlanta side, again, it's a little bit hard to say right now because Trae Young is currently questionable. If Trae Young is out, I think Brandon Goodwin becomes one of the best values of the slate. In the 2 games Trae Young's missed, he's played 37 minutes in both those games, so would really like Goodwin for value. And then Bogdanovic, even at this price, he would become the number 1 on offense. He's also played 41 in 40 minutes. I think he would be a good play at his price. Herder, Lou Williams in play in the mid-range. Capella's viable either way. Like, Trae Young being in or out doesn't really affect him too much. But Capella in a close game should play 35 minutes. I'm perfectly fine spending up with him. Now, if Trae Young is in, then it's basically just like the top 2 guys. I don't know if I get to any value. Like, yes, Solomon Hill is on an NBA team. He will play minutes. Do I want to play him? Not really. Like, you can go there, but he's still got, he can literally play 30 minutes and go for 8 fantasy points. Like, that's a realistic possibility for a guy like Solomon Hill. Okay, so Trae Young's in. We did just get that news. All right, so that's going to change up some things for myself. So that obviously hurts, basically takes the value out of play now for Atlanta. Trae Young getting ruled in so late in the slate with about 50 minutes until lock, I think that now makes him a good tournament play. I don't know if a ton of people get to him. Assuming there's no limit for Trae Young, I do like him for tournaments. So it's Young now. It's Capella. Probably it. Like, Bogdan is not completely out of play, but hey, I don't really want to pay 7-2 for him with Trae Young in the lineup. Like, Herter, Lou Williams, kind of just secondary plays with Trae Young in, because Trae Young being in this offense, he eats up a lot of the usage. I'm obviously not going to get to Goodwin now at 4 or 5. So, yeah, it's like Trae and Capella. Probably it for me. Probably it. Right as you said it, yeah, exactly. All right, so Golden State and Cleveland. This game does have a little bit of blowout risk. We'll start with the Golden State side. So, again, there's just not a lot to spend up for on the slate. We got Giannis, we got Steph. I do think Giannis, assuming there's no limit, is probably a little bit safer than Steph, but Steph has been shooting out of his mind recently. 69, 67 fantasy points last couple games. That last game against OKC wasn't a blowout. I do like Steph at the top, right? It's a small slate. If you can get both Steph and Giannis in your lineup, I think that's not a bad way to start if you're comfortable with the value. So, Suns bench, we'll get to them. I think that's an interesting spot for some value for sure. But so I like Steph at the top. Draymond Green, one of my favorite plays in the mid-range. It's weird with Draymond, right? He goes on stretches where he's like vintage old Draymond Green of like triple-double every single game, like 3 blocks, couple steals. And then he goes on stretches where he kind of just doesn't do a whole lot. I don't know what to make of it. But assuming we get this Draymond Green where he's being more aggressive, he's getting, triple-doubles almost every single game, I think he's underpriced. In a close game, he should play about 35 minutes. So do like Draymond there, a good amount in mid-range. Andrew Wiggins, you guys know my rule on him. I do not play him. If you want to go there, I don't think he's the worst option, but doesn't really stand out. Now with Oubre out, Kent Bazemore should play, probably over 30 minutes in a close game. I think he's a fair value play. Again, small forward eligible. Small forward is usually a pretty weak position. No thank you on Poole. Kevon Looney's at 3.8. Assuming he starts, I think we get somewhere around 20 to 25 minutes. This is a bigger front court in Cleveland, right? They got Jarrett Allen, they got Love, they got Nance, they got Hartenstein. So I'm not sure if Golden State can really afford to go small a ton. So for that reason, I think Looney is someone we could look to as a value punt. And that's probably like Toscano Anderson I'm not really looking to. He's got extended a little bit because of blowouts, but I'm probably not going to go there. All right, on the Cleveland side, so we got news Sexton is in. Right, like both Sexton and Garland are like secondary options for me. Jarrett Allen with Kevin Love in the lineup seems a little bit too pricey. I think the guy I'm really looking to is Kevin Love himself. Should get somewhere around 25 to 30 minutes. He's been a pretty solid point per minute guy in this offense. So I do like Kevin Love. I think he's the guy I look to first for Cleveland. Hardenstein too expensive off the bench. No thank you on Dean Wade. No thank you on Okoro. Prince has been good, but I don't think I want to go there either. So basically, Cleveland is a team that I'm not super high on. It's Kevin Love, and that's about it. Boston and the Lakers. So we did just get news that Robert Williams is out. So I think Tristan Thompson now becomes probably one of the best values of the slate. Assuming he starts, I do think he starts. Really do like Tristan Thompson. I think he's a safe play with some upside. Now, as far as the backup center goes, your guess is as good as mine. Like, they have Luke Cornett. They have Taco Fall. They have Mo Wagner. They can dust off Semi Ojeleye. Grant Williams could play some 5. Unless one of these guys start ahead of Tristan Thompson, I don't know if I can stomach playing one of these guys. I have no idea what Brad Stevens is going to do. Again, he could just run 4 centers behind Tristan Thompson and everyone plays 8 to 12 minutes. I don't know, right? I don't know what he's going to do here. So unless one of these guys starts, I just don't think I can do it. So, but Tristan Thompson, I think is a clear value right now. Really, really do like him. I don't know if I'm going to take a shot and try to figure out who the backup center is going to be because, again, he could just run 3 or 4 centers behind him. Now, the main guys for Boston, I think are all solid plays. Does one stand out? No, but they're all pretty decent. Jason Tatum is in play because the big minutes, can stuff the stat sheet. Brown has upside, maybe a little bit more up and down, but he's also cheaper than Tatum. Kemba Walker is playing big minutes. He's playing about 35 minutes a game. And then Marcus Smart, same thing. All 4 starters are playing huge minutes. So I think really my take is all 4 Boston guys are pretty good plays. Is there one standout player I'm yes, you have to play one of them? No. But I do think if you land on 1 or 2 Boston guys in your lineup, that's not bad, right? Because these Boston, the main 4 guys, are going to play massive minutes. So that's really my take. I think they're pretty solid plays. They're not the best plays of the slate, but they're definitely not the worst plays. They're they're decent plays. And then Thompson is, again, I think a clear value there. On the Lakers side, so Drummond at 6.9K. Again, just such a frustrating roster. I think the ownership will drop on him. He's been somewhat popular the last couple slates. He's disappointed. But, hey, the upside is still there with him. We know that, right? He can still go for like 40 plus in like 25 minutes. So Drummond is a guy that I do like for tournaments. The safest play, I think, is Dennis Schroeder. I do think he's underpriced here at 6.3. He's a guy that's going to play 35 plus minutes and has a pretty high floor with his assist. Can even get some rebounds, can score the ball. So I think Schroeder's the safest guy in the Lakers. Kuzma is in play too. He takes a pretty big hit with Drummond in the lineup because he loses a lot of rebounds when Drummond's in there. But I still think Kuzma's a guy you can get to. Should play, again, about 35 minutes. I do think Schroeder's a little bit safer just because of those assists, though. Montrez at 5.3 probably gets around 20 minutes off the bench. You can go there for tournaments. I don't love it. We're still waiting on Markieff Morris news. Honestly, he doesn't do much, even if he's out. Like THT will soak up some minutes. Macklemore, Wes Matthews. These have a lot of guys that can use. I think Caruso at 3.7 is someone you could look to for value. Should get around 20, 25 minutes. A guy that can get some assist, can get some peripheral stats. So Caruso is playable. KCP also playable too because the minutes. He's a guy that should play about 30, can hit some shots, but there's no standout value play for the Lakers. Ugh. All right, so let's refresh FanSlabs one more time. Make sure we're up to date. Sorry if you hear me sniffling, guys. You guys know my allergies at this point in the year are not great. All right, so we got one game left. It's Sacramento and Phoenix. This game has a pretty high total, but also has some blowout risk. So another one where it's like, if the game stays close, especially on the Phoenix side, you could see some big scores. But there's also risk with this one. So let's start with Fox. I think he will go overlooked on the slate. We have Giannis. We have Steph. I just don't think Fox is going to be super popular, especially in this matchup. But he should play close to 40 minutes. A guy that, again, can fill up the stat sheet. So I like Fox as a contrarian play here. With Halliburton, Barnes, and Hield, they're just they're there. If you land on one of those guys, it's not terrible. But again, I don't really like this matchup. Mo Harkless, again, I pivoted from Whiteside to Harkless. I really thought there was a good chance Whiteside would get a DNP if he didn't start. He didn't start. And it looked like Whiteside was going to get a DNP until midway through the second quarter. He checks in and then basically plays 20 plus minutes and just smashes. And I'm left with 20 minutes and 6 fancy points from Mo Harkless. That was, I'm still not over it. So Whiteside, again, this is one where he played 23 minutes the last game. There's still, I think, a slight chance he gets a DNP in this game. I'm not kidding. It's possible. But if he plays anywhere close to 20 minutes, he's the best value. Best value in the slate, and it's not close. And just, again, because he's such a good point per minute guy. So a little bit of a tricky one, but for me, I'm just rolling the dice and hoping he plays because when he is out there, he's such a good point per minute guy. And there's not a ton of smash value at the moment, so I also know there's I think a slight chance he gets a DNP. You never know. Phoenix can go small with Sarge at the 5. We've seen that before. Sacramento could match him. So there's a little bit of risk. But Whiteside, assuming he gets similar minutes as last game, just a smash play. And that's probably it. Damian Jones might start, but he's not anywhere close to as good of a point per guy as Whiteside. I don't know if I can stomach a Damian Jones. All right, finally, so Phoenix. The top 3 guys I think all look pretty good in Booker, Paul, Ayton. Again, phenomenal matchup here. It's just a matter of, are you confident the Kings can keep this game close? Because I think it's about 50-50 this game blows out. Phoenix has been playing phenomenal, and again, the Sacramento team is not great, so I think Booker has a good amount of upside. I think keep it close. I think Paul in a close game probably plays 32 to 34 minutes. We know he's got triple-double upside. DeAndre Ayton should be able to smash against his front court. So I like all 3 of the Phoenix guys. It's just a matter of how are you approaching the slate? Are you playing for a close game or are you playing for a blowout? Because you could go either way. And if you're playing for the blowout, there's a few guys I think look really good for value. One, let's start with Cam Johnson off the bench at 3.4K. I think in a close game, he hovers around the 20-minute mark. In a blowout, he probably pushes for 25 plus. So Cam Johnson would be a really good value play if you think this game does not stay close. Dario Saric might play a little bit in the blow-up. I don't think he plays the entire time. Either way, he's at almost min price, and he's played 19, 18, and 18 minutes the last 3 games. I have some interest in him. Again, he's a pretty good point per guy. And even Cam Payne at 3-4. Again, a close game, maybe 15 to 20. In a blowout, probably 20 plus. So, and he's also been a pretty solid point per guy. So, like Payne, Johnson, Saric, I think all look really good if you think this game does not stay competitive. Now, you can roll the dice on them. I don't think they're going to kill you if this game stays close. Like in a close game, 15-ish minutes out of Saric, probably 15 to 20 out of Cam Payne, and probably 20 to like 23 from Cam Johnson. So, like, I don't think they will kill you, but if this game does blow out, you could see some big scores from them at basically close to mid price. So, I do have interest in these Phoenix guys. It just depends what happens in this game. If the game does stay close, then we probably get about 25 to 30 minutes out of Jay Crowder, who I'm interested in because, hey, he's really cheap and it's a fantastic matchup. So Phoenix is a team I like. It just depends on how you're approaching the slate. What do you think happens in this game, right? So that's really my take there. That's what makes the slate tricky, again, is this late game. And yeah, that's what I got. So we got a little bit of time here for some questions. Injury-wise, again, we got Trae Young in. All right, so let's do it. Put some questions in the chat. In the chat, guys. We are at 350 viewers again for 4 game slate and 75 likes. Thank you guys again for everyone coming to check out the stream on a short slate. Yeah, so Ayton or Drummond, there's risk involved with both, right? With Drummond, it's just his up and down nature of this game. But when Drummond is playing well, we know he's got a lot of upside. Ayton is in a smash spot, but also some blowout risk. So it's like, there's risk reward with both. I would say maybe the slightly safer option is Ayton, but I like the upside in both players if things go well. Draymond Love, I mean, you guys know I love playing Draymond. I love playing Draymond. Saric, yeah, I think Saric is a good value. Now, he's only center eligible, right? That is my issue. Yeah, he's only center eligible. So, looking at this slate right now, all right, you can only play 2 centers. Are you going to play Dario Saric over Tristan Thompson with no Robert Williams? Are you going to play Dario Saric over a phenomenal point per guy in Hassan Whiteside? You can. I think I prefer those other 2 options to a Dario Saric. Now, there's a little bit of risk involved with Whiteside, right? I mentioned that, but assuming like if Whiteside and Saric both play 20 minutes, Whiteside will beat him 9 times out of 10 as far as fantasy points per minute. All right. Stars and scrubs. I think you can still go balance, though, too. Like, I don't think you have to go stars and scrubs in the slate. There's definitely some good plays, right? We have in the mid-range, we have, like, Schroeder, we have Kuzma, even a Drummond a little bit risky. On the Boston side, there's some guys in play in the mid-range. Draymond Green's in the mid-range. Kevin Love's in the mid-range. Ayton's in the mid-range. You could still go a little bit more of a balanced approach if you want. Kemba, Drew, Jaylen Brown, Draymond, Whiteside, Schroeder, Bazemore, and Thompson. Yeah, so like Drew and Middleton, I think they're still playable. I'm not going out of my way to play them, though, with Giannis in. I'll just say that. So he's the one I'm like a little bit iffy on, Drew and Middleton. I don't see issues with anything else in your lineup. I like upside. You putting both centers, which I think is probably correct on the slate with Whiteside and Thompson. Yeah, Pat Connaughton or Jay Crowder. Do we have a Bucks starting lineup? I'm guessing Pat Connaughton starts for no DiVincenzo. So, that's I'll go Crowder, but that's pretty close. So a cheap shooting guard, 4.3 came below. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm not playing Osman. There's no way I'm playing Ben McLemore. I'm not playing DeLon Wright. It's by default, it's Alex Caruso. I think really that's the only playable guy down here. Like Forbes will probably get around 20 minutes, but I really hate playing him because he literally has to hit his threes. I would rather play in a guy like Caruso who can do some more of the peripheral stats. Now, again, I'm not saying Caruso is like a great play, but the answer there for me is Caruso. Tatum or Brown, I mean, if you can get to Tatum, I prefer him. For Lou Williams is playable for tournaments. With Trae Young in, I do think he loses some run. Maybe instead of like 25 to 30, he plays like 20 to 25. He can get hot. Like, we know that Lou Williams can still put up a big game, but more of a contrarian play for me. Halliburton or Herter, I don't love either. Again, Herter, secondary option with Trae Young in. Halliburton is just kind of been a little bit disappointing. It's not a great matchup. If I had to pick, it would be Halliburton, but they're just, I don't really love either of them. Smart or Bogdanovich? I do think you're overpaying for Bogdanovich, but raw points are going to matter on the slate. So, like, he will still probably play about mid-30s minutes with Trae Young in. If salary doesn't matter, I think I go Bogdan, because I just still, even with Young in, he can still have upside. I just do think he's a little bit overpriced. The best stars, Giannis if there's no limit, and Steph. That's really it. Right? Fox, I like as a contrarian play, and then it's basically there's no other stars. So there's not a ton of stars on this slate. Yeah, Paul and Booker in the same lineup. You can do it. If I'm doing that, I think I'm running it back with someone on the Kings, though, if I'm playing both the Suns guards. So if I do that, maybe run it back with Fox and I just full stack the game. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, Bogdan or Kuzma. It's a close one. If price doesn't matter, it might be Bogdan for me, even with Trae Young in, right? Because, like, when was the last game Trae Young played? It was a few games ago. He played 38 minutes against Chicago and 34 against Memphis. So how many minutes did Bogdan play in those games? 34 and 36. So, like, he should still get about 35 minutes. Yes, the floor is a little bit lower with Trae Young out, but he can still have upside. So that's a close one. I might give that to Bogdan. Broderick Thomas, yeah. Suns bench with Curry, Giannis, and Fox. Does that make sense, though, if you're playing the Suns bench with Fox? I mean, they can still get it done in a close game, but the upside those Suns bench guys have is if the game blows out. And if the game blows out, you don't want Fox. So maybe reconsider that part. 65%. Ooh, I don't know if I can... Can I stomach Terrence Davis? I mean, what? He'll get 15-ish. I don't know if I can do it on this slate. That might be pushing it. All right, guys. We got about another minute. Yeah, so Curry or Giannis? I think it's Giannis for me, assuming there's no limit. Again, I don't really want to play Bryn Forbes. I would rather play Pat Connaughton than Bryn Forbes. The Broderick Thomas love is insane here. I think Tristan Thompson looks like a really good value play. With no Robert Williams, assuming he starts, I do think he does. I think we get 25 to 30 minutes from a Tristan Thompson. I like him a lot. Whiteside or Thompson? I will say Thompson is safer at the moment. If Whiteside plays like 20 to 25 minutes, though, I prefer Whiteside. Got a CP3 Cool Cat, 3,000. If you're not going for the challenge, then I sell. So it's up to you. If you're going for the challenge, you can hold it, but yeah, sell if you're not going for it because the price is going to drop by a lot after the challenge. Curry, Forbes, Johnson, Giannis, Thompson, Fox, Crowder, Whiteside. I have no issue with that. Cam Johnson and Herter or Caruso and Bazemore. Ugh. Second, I guess. Fox and Cam Johnson or Draymond and KCP. That's tough. I think it's got to be the first one. Even though I like Draymond more, it's just the value, the upgrade from like Cam Johnson to KCP, in my opinion, is not that much. And we just have a guy like Fox who more upside than Draymond, even though I do like Draymond a lot. I'll just go with that, the first one. Yeah, Kemba or Schroeder, it's pretty close for me. Pretty close. Honestly, it might be a coin flip with those two. I like them both in the mid-range. Cash point guard. All right, this will be the last question. Then I'm gonna have to get out here. So cash for point guard. At the top, I think it's Steph, just because again, raw points matter on a slate like this. Mid range, it's just tricky because what do you think happens in this game? If you think game stays close, I think Chris Paul is a pretty safe play. I like Kemba and Schroeder in the mid range. Value for guard, there's really not much here. Again, Goodwin's kind of out of play with Trae Young in. I think you can go to like Caruso or Campaign, but you're not going to feel great about either of those two. All right, I'll refresh Fantasy Labs one more time. Make sure we are fully up to date, guys, and then I will call it. Appreciate everyone coming to check out the stream on a short, small slate. Yeah, that's it, guys. So good luck to everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'll be back for another live stream tomorrow. So I'll see everyone then.